is going to
The
implement.
only thing we know for sure is that it's an uncertain future that we have in front of us.
Well, obviously you made the promises during the election.
Yeah.
It's another sort of issue, of course, of whether he follows through. Let's take the issue of climate change. Now, in 2012, he dismissed climate change as a hoax made up by the Chinese. We go back to 2009, he actually supported efforts to cut greenhouse gas emissions. But then, of course, he said during the election campaign that he wanted to scrap the Paris Agreement.
Yes, that's true. So we're not sure exactly where we stand on this matter. And now, in fact, we understand that he has threatened to scrap all of NASA's climate change research. Well, for more, we're joined now by Dr. Paul Reid from the University of Melbourne. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Miriam.
We're not entirely sure exactly what President-elect in the US, Donald Trump, might have up his sleeve once he is inaugurated in January. But given that he's signalling massive changes to NASA's climate change research, in your view, what would scrapping the programs and research that NASA does mean for us globally?
Globally, it would mean the decimation of the great majority of data that subserves our complete understanding of the biosphere. So the entire Earth system upon which humanity depends, including land, oceans, the atmosphere, everything that we base our information on, including weather predictions, cyclones, floods, fires, all of this information will be completely removed.
Paul, can you just explain to us, as far as NASA's role is concerned, what facilities and methods does it have at its disposal as far as climate change research is concerned?
It has altimeter satellites floating around the Earth. It's measuring sea level rises. It's measuring everything from megafires to all of the information we require, for example, to predict the likelihood of Black Saturday reoccurrence. Is the sort of information that's coming out of the Earth Science Division of NASA. I think today we've heard that Israel's on fire. Last week was the hottest, or the 20 degrees increased temperature in the Arctic. In September, it was the hottest on record for 136 years. This is the kind of information that's brought to bear by the Earth Science Division, and climate scientists the world over rely on it. At the moment, the United States is a global leader in this information, and I cannot understand why you would want to dismantle something which is essentially taking the temperature. It's a barometer of the entire Earth system.
Is the data not only just critical for monitoring what's currently happening, but also for predicting what may well happen?
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, most of the data feeds directly into the models for climate change. But it's not just climate change. I think if he's considering, this is information that's also relied upon by bureaus of meteorology, by shipping, by aviation. It predicts, I think it was only last month that the Earth Science Division looked at the internal workings of Hurricane Nicole, where it was able to look at things like wind shear, which is where we have updrafts and downdrafts. Now, the next time you get into an aeroplane, you want to know about wind shear, because if an aeroplane is flying through wind shear, it'll tear it in half.
Paul, Donald Trump appears to be saying that essentially NASA's research has become too politicised. How do you avoid that criticism when obviously for some people it's controversial in the summation of some of the information and research that's been undertaken?
The thing is that the science of climate change is not political. Science, by its very nature, is apolitical. It doesn't take sides. Nature doesn't take sides. All we're doing is measuring what nature is doing. When it becomes political is when the implications of climate science threaten vested interests and threaten our ability to adapt to a changing system. The United States at the moment is in an invidious position. It's threatened by globalisation. Even the past 30 years of the internet is changing the way we live. Climate change on top of this is another problem. I believe that Donald Trump wants to probably have a fossil fuel-led recovery. We've got a lot of people from manufacturing, a failure of manufacturing in the United States that need jobs. These are the people who elected him, and these are the people he needs to respond to. How will he do that? Probably mining fossil fuels. At the moment, he appears to be extremely conciliatory, and that makes perfect sense. If the Electoral College could remove him before the 20th of January, he'll continue to be conciliatory. However, if you note some of the comments that he's making in other areas, there is that sense that after the 20th of January, all bets are off. He has said that he's made indications that there is an ability for the President to have absolute power, but the Earth Science Division reports directly to the President. He could eliminate it the day after.
So, Dr. Breed, what would be the implications for professionals in Australia such as yourself who are involved in looking at the data that organisations such as NASA provides? And are you concerned that the tone being set by the President-elect in the US, Donald Trump, will involve other countries such as Australia perhaps weakening their stance on climate change?
Oh, that is a tremendous fear. If he removes himself from the Paris Accord, America is the second largest contributor to climate change. It would be devastating. It's not that the professionals are worried about their own positions. It's that the implications of the United States not being part of the United Nations Accord would be decimating for our children and our children's children. We've got, like, between now and the 20th of January, we need to rattle some sabres, because we're not talking about the ability of professionals to keep doing their work. This week, we're coming up to Christmas. Ask your children what they want for their future. I think the Australian Institute of Family Studies a couple of years back said that they surveyed primary school children. 30% believed the world would end before they had a chance to grow old. Donald Trump needs to ask the children of America what they want. We need to ask our children what they want, because this getting rid of the Earth Science Division is not about supporting scientists globally, even though scientists all around the world rely on this information. This is about the implications of the science. What is it going to do to humanity?
Well, it remains to be seen exactly what Donald Trump will come up with on January 20th once he's inaugurated. Dr. Paul Reid from the University of Melbourne, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.